Right. Welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today we are joined by Fred from the band Late Night Special. Fred,
What's up,
how
you
we doing?
guys?
Well, we appreciate you hopping in here. I know, it's a busy time for you guys. Obviously, you guys are up in Charlotte. Getting you're getting a lot of the Lantern Festival and everything. I think you mentioned that last time we spoke. So like been still doing that, or what's the story there?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we've been doing the it's called Nightlight Sky Lantern Festival. And we've been doing that for the last this will be the fifth year. And this is the fall season. We usually do anywhere from like 6 to 8 shows in the spring and about 6 to 8 shows in the fall. And they're all over the country. Like we're about to head out to we'll be in Pennsylvania, we'll be in the Pocono Raceway in September, and then we'll be in Salt Lake City, I believe Texas, St. Louis, and then back in Pennsylvania at another spot. So, and the festival's incredible. It's hard to describe to people. I like try to sell it to people everywhere we go, like trying to tell them what it is, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, okay," but like it's super cool, man. It's like a 10,000 person event, and they call it a 10K star event. And at the end of the night, man, we're the headlining band. We kind of wrap up the set right at sunset, right as it's getting dark, and then these 10,000 people, 8 to 10,000 people, launch these lanterns up in the air, man. It's just super magical. Great burst of positivity and very unique festival that we've been a part of for many years so far.
Very cool. Like, how'd you guys get into it? Like, what was the kind of the genesis?
So I have a really good friend. His company is PSP. They are like a sound and stage company, production company, pretty much. And they had been doing the event, working with the owners on a couple other things that they had done before with them, but they had started doing sound for this event, and they were occasionally, I guess, allowed to bring in somebody to do music. So I got the call in 2019 as a solo, me just doing my solo loop show that I do kind of around town here, hustle on the side. Anyways, I got called in like October of 2019, and I flew down to Texas to do this gig. And I remember thinking I would just be like a, side stage kind of warm up act or whatever. And so the owner of the festival picked me up from the airport, and we had about an hour ride. And I was like, "So who's the headliner tonight?" He's like, "Oh, it's you." And he like chuckled. And I was like, "No, this is crazy. How many people are you expecting?" He's like, "We're expecting anywhere from like 14 to 16,000 people." And I was like, "What?" And so the whole ride down there, we were just listening. He had his playlist playing, and like it was just song after song after song that I knew. And like we talked about music for about an hour, and just kind of connected. And as we got down there, he's like, "Well, I hope you're good, man. I've never heard you play, but I hope you do really well tonight." We get down there, man, and I remember I hadn't really been that nervous in a long time. Anyways, played the show, man, and had a heck of a time, and saw this event and was like, "This is unreal." And the next day or maybe 2 days later, I got a message from them, and they're like, "Hey, would you come back in 2 weeks and do our event in Detroit? We've been flooded with emails of people wanting to know who you were. They want to see you back, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Man, this is wow." And in my head on the truck ride down, I remember thinking, like, "You haven't seen me play, but you're gonna love this, dude, and you're gonna ask me to come back." I was just thinking it
Yeah.
already, and it happened. And so the following year was 2020. They asked me to do all the shows for the year, and somewhere in there I got asked to be like a an MC, man, which was really crazy too. And so I kind of started emceeing the event as well. Anyways, I convinced them after 2020, because that 2020 was weird. We still did like, I want to say 6 out of the 15 shows with this company, and they were like apparently some of the bigger events going on in the world at the time because of the
Yeah.
COVID thing. And it was very interesting. They did them all safe and everything. After that, 2021, they were like, "Hey, we want to bring you back." And I was like, "Well, can I start bringing my band?" Because originally, like I said, I was just doing this stuff solo. And so we started bringing the band, and they were like, "Man, we love the band. Like, it's a vibe." I'm like, "Dude, if you want it, we'll keep bringing it." And
Yeah.
so it's just been like that for 5 years now, and it's kind of like a little family. The company that runs it is very tight and niche, and they have like just a super well oiled machine that they have running there, and a lot of good people, and so like we've kind of just been accepted into that family, and they think of us as a big part of the festival, and we're seeing reoccurring faces, and you know people are asking us to play these songs that are our original songs that they
Yeah.
heard the year before. So it's been super cool experience, and that's kind of how I fell into just doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, what was it like the first time you saw, like, the lanterns go up? I mean, you probably hadn't envisioned that, or maybe you'd seen some, like, content, but, like, experiencing it, like, for that first time in Texas after you rock the show, everyone loves it, and then you're like, sun's going down, and then you just see all these things go up. Like, what was that like?
Man, it's there's not I haven't had a feeling like that and that could I guess come close to compare. There's other great feelings. Like I have two kids. When my son was born, like it was the most proudest thing ever because I'm Fred Lee the fourth, so I named him the fifth, and it was just like that's a feeling in its own. But man, watching the lanterns go up for the first time, I had seen content. I had seen a video, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." I had no clue what I was about to experience, and man, it was unreal. It was unreal. It was like as soon as because the MC counts them down. Now I'm the MC. So the MC at the time, this guy counted it down, because he gives everybody time to light their lanterns. Everybody's starting to get it together, and we encourage everyone not to light them until the end. And then we do a 10-second countdown to try to make it synchronized. And like when it stopped, they play some music, some really good vibe fitting music that just hits just right. And the release happens. So it's like this encompassing moment. And I always get asked, like, do you ever get tired? Like, are you ever like worn out on seeing it, or is it never not exciting? And I kind of like over the years, I mean, I guess I've seen getting close to 75 to 100 of these things, and I tell people like it's weird, man. That feeling has never really went away. There's
Yeah.
times where I'm like so busy getting my guitar done because I go directly from playing to directly to speaking, so sometimes I get a little frazzled. Maybe I had a little bad ending song or something like that, and I go right into being the MC, and I don't get to fully encompass the moment. But when I do get to like sit back and like really feel it still to this day. It's so powerful. And I tell everybody it's just a unique event because I feel like everyone comes to the event with this certain thing, like this certain set of energy. And it's this crew, right, of the festival company. They clean up all the lanterns the next day. They get hire temp crews from high schools and stuff, and they all go out and pick up these lanterns. And like just reading some of the lanterns and the messages, man, it is just like the most heartfelt things, like maybe someone lost a parent or a loved one, or maybe someone's graduating, maybe someone's just putting their goals. It's just the most powerful stuff ever. And so I chalk it up that moment when it gets released, it's everyone's energy. They've came with such high intention for the day to do
Yeah.
this lantern thing, and when it lets go, I swear you feel it. I mean, people in mass groups is such a powerful thing as it is. When people sing along at a concert, it feels like God's touching you. And so this is like one of those moments where you can just feel the positivity, man.
Yeah.
So super
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
I gotta get out to it. I mean,
dude.
I'm sold. I don't know if again, I hope my listeners are sold too. I mean, it seems like you got to get the schedule. So we'll definitely link some stuff down below and
Yeah,
check out Fred on Fred on Instagram. He can point you in the right direction, and also Late Night Special on Instagram. They'll be
yeah,
out there rocking it out. I mean, I want to transition to kind of y'all's live show. I've obviously had the pleasure of seeing it, in person at Smith's Old Bar, and it sounds like the scale at the Lantern Festival different than the scale at Smith's, on Valentine's Day a little bit, but
yeah,
still powerful. I think like you guys just you come out and you crush it. I mean, one of the things that I took away from it, obviously, like I had to ask you about the "Don't Leave Me Alone" in the song because you talked about that on Pat with Pat McAfee, who's I'm a big fan of his, but you know, as you like, when somebody comes into any one of your concerts, right? What do you want them to feel after, right? Like, what's the thing that you're like, if they can feel that, then I've done my job for the night.
yeah. Just it depends. I think about that a lot. If there's other musicians in the room, I want them to be inspired because that's how I feel when I watch almost any band. At any level, I'm always like, wow. I like what you did there, like inspired. I wish I was playing instead of watching. But as a fan, someone who's just a listener, I don't know. That's a tough question. I should think about that. I will say this, some of the best moments I've ever had were playing a song that I wrote for people that had never heard it before. And by the second chorus, they're singing it back to you like they've been listening. And like knowing this is a brand new place, you've never heard this. This song is not released. I made up a song one day at a double gig. We played a festival on one side of town, went to the other side of town, and played this other big event. And I remember making up this song, going to the next event and playing it. And there's like a couple, probably 3,000 people, drunk college kind of crowd, and, like, halfway through the song, they're, like, singing along, and I was just like, that's what I love that, because
Yeah.
I love getting caught in a hook. I love, like I'm not a, like, sing out loud with the crowd kinda guy for some reason. I'm not a karaoke person, but I do love getting a hook in my head to where I will actually sing it, It's such a cool feeling.
Wow. I mean, obviously Don't Leave Me Lonely got the, like, I think maybe the best hook, one of the best hooks in rock and roll that people may or may not know about. Obviously, it's I just every time I hear it, it's a chant. It's a like a it feels like tribal almost whenever I hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
My mama told me
Yeah.
one day. I mean, like, it's just the best. Like, you can't do it without a smile on your face. So I want to spotlight that and kind of dive in there of, like, how'd you come up with it? Where, it seems like your style can be, as much as like writing something on the go, or, something that comes out quickly. So what's your main, how'd you come up with that one? Just from nuts and bolts there.
So that song was like created in like I released my first album, and after that I had someone approach me on Instagram saying like, "Hey, I really loved your songs. I feel like you could use some help with your writing." And that was weird to me because I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" Like in a very amateur way, I was cocky and kind of like, "What do you mean I need help with my writing? Like I wrote these songs all by myself." And anyways, despite that feeling, I chose to go work with this person. I remember the first night we met up, we wrote a song. He was like, "Man, you just give me these Viking vibes," because I had a pretty big beard at the time. He's like, I want to go after a Viking sound with you." And I'm like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" You know? And I was telling him, I'm like, "I'm a huge Kings of Leon fan, like monster Kings of Leon fan, Young the Giant." And he was like, "Yeah, like let's lean into that tonight." And we wrote the song. I still to this day, I don't know where the heck it is. I'm sure if I could trace back on my old blown up laptop, there's a version of it on there. But I remember we wrote it and it was so cool. And I was like, man, this guy's super talented at production, not just writing. And I'm kind of like just an open flow with lyrics. Like I just kind of let them go. Anyways, we met up again to do a session, and when we met up and did that session, like that's when we kind of came up with the "Don't Leave Me Lonely" thing, and it was weird. Like we had all been out on Charlotte partying. We showed up about 8 or 9, maybe 10 to the studio, hung out for 4 or 5 hours, like made this song. And I remember there were like people passing in and out, who like contributed in a way like to the vibe, and like we were all shopping these ideas, and then basically yeah, I think we fucking went out after that again and like, woke up and it was a song, like and it was kind of weird, and at that point in my career, I didn't like it at all. Like I was like, dude, we felt we were like a live band. Like we wanted to sound like a live band, and that was a very overly produced sound. So it sat on a hard drive for years, man. That was in probably 2016, and it sat on a hard drive for probably 4 years, 5 years, until I met this guy from Charleston, Wolfgang Zimmerman. He's produced tons of great bands,
He's
man.
been
Like,
on the show.
so there you go, dude. He's the king, man. He's the king. So I met him, and I had him mix a song from like a similar time period that we did in Nashville with the same producer, but in a studio. And he was kind of fumbling through the files and found that, and he's like, "Let's listen to this." And he listened, and he was like, "Bro, I can't make anything this cool. Like, you got to release this. And I was like, all right, my man. Like, I look up to Wolf so much. I don't think he understands. Like, I really have always looked up to him, and it took me forever to get in the room and work with him. But once we did, like, it was like working with somebody I had known my whole life, and we always like worked fast in sessions. But anyways, he convinced me to put it on that record, and it just happened to be one of the songs we submitted to Pat McAfee when at that time he had kind of had his YouTube channel. They would take original music submissions, and one of my friends told me that and said, do it. So I don't even know why I lumped that in, but I did. I threw it in there with a couple other songs, and 2 weeks later, somebody was like snapping me that they're singing it on the show. And you know how Pat's fan base is, they just go in.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Pat McAfee and the whole fan base because they kind of blew that song up for us, and at least got the ball rolling on the streaming game because like that's dude, it's so hard to crack that code unless you're like a social media warrior, which I've did it for a long time. I'm continuously doing it, but I can always do better on social media. That's something I
Yeah.
find. But
It's kind of a thing. Obviously you have a love hate with it because it's part of what part of what I do, part of obviously what you guys are doing, and like it has become a bigger part than it used to be. It used to be like, hey, if you can come up with good music, like you can get it out there and you get to the right ears, you get some play. Now it's like, hey, you got to be almost like famous there to then fill a room to then play the music that's great. And it's just, I don't have a great opinion on it because it's just like, I think sometimes some of the best stuff gets lost because some people, the right ears don't hear it, or but I guess you could say that about any time of period of years. So like
yeah,
I definitely hear your sentiment there. Now, like from obviously you let this thing sit on a hard drive, for a while. Like as as it gets released, it blows up. Like now, do you does that change you guys as far as like how you write music, or like for example, like you guys, the latest on y'all's website was Spray, like creating something in the last few years, like has any of that stuff changed you guys to be like, yeah, maybe like we bring in a little bit more of that influence, or like do you still are just kind of come in fresh on
yeah.
writing your new stuff?
So man, like I write a lot in the flow. Like so when we're off tour, because we try to really do 6 good months a year of like
Hmm.
band touring, and we still do a lot of shows outside of that. But when I'm off tour here in Charlotte, I kind of maintain playing 3, 4 nights a week. I do a lot of like private shows, corporate gigs, like solo, just to like keep my chops up, and then it's a great supplemental income just on the side, with touring. So I write a lot at those things. Like sometimes, you're just in the corner and people are loving what you do no matter what you do. So sometimes I feel inspired just to make up a riff. And when I do that, I have the looper that I'm always using. I'll put the loop on and grab my phone and hit the record button, and I will freestyle a hook out, and then I'll build around that hook throughout that 5 minute loop. And next thing you know, I've got this like song. So that's kind of how I've always wrote music, is like get the sound first and then like give it my best, Eminem freestyle over it, baby, and like throw out some just hopefully lyrical gold. But after that moment, yeah, I leaned into, even before we released that song,
Yeah.
I leaned into like co-writing was actually way cooler than I'd ever given it credit. Because you always hear people like, "Oh, he doesn't write his own songs," and it's like some people co-write their songs with other writers, and I've always just thought, sometimes more heads is better than one. Two is better than one, three is better than one. You get three different walks of life, you're more likely to hit a lot more walks of life in the listener realm if you have different perspectives, like kind of guiding lyrics. Now, that's not to say like Spray is something I wrote from top to bottom, and like the band always gives me shit because we play a lot of like 2, 3, 4 chord songs, and Spray was just completely different. And they're like, and I made that up in like 2017, like as a super novice player, not really that good, I would say. And they always give me shit because they're like, "How the hell did you make this song up? Like, it's kind of complicated." And I'm like, "I don't remember. Drunk one night, just went through the cadences of liking this riff and built this song." But most of the stuff we've released over the years, I think Disco was co-written. If You Groove, that was actually kind of wrote by Mikey Marrero, and then he brought that to the table with me, and we kind of like worked through those lyrics and ended up producing a version with Wolf. And there's been like subtle times, like, being in sessions with people, I guess, they influence the writing in ways. But most of the time, yeah, I mean, I would say I lean into that, like, co-writing with people. I think it's very cool. I think it goes a long way. But I'll still write a lot of songs by myself and come up with an idea and bring it out to people.
Let's talk about set list. You mentioned obviously you do some solo action. So like when you're doing that, obviously you mentioned you'll start freestyling, kind of come up on a riff. Is that like, are those mainly cover shows? Like, do you play covers? Do you play all originals at those, or like what's kind of your style for doing those solo acts?
It's here and there.
Yeah.
Doing When I started doing the solo thing with Nightlights, I was doing probably 50-50. Like when I first went out, I did my originals. I was like, this is my shot in front of this many people. I'm playing mine and the covers, and I did that. When I'm back home, it is a lot more cover heavy gigs, but like sneak the originals in, especially if like we're gearing up for a show coming up. And I'll run the set through, like if I play for 2 hours, I'll run the set for an hour of it. And like, just work on making sure like my voice is like, because some songs we'll throw in that we haven't played in 6 months. Like Spray's a good one. We'll throw it in and then not use it for a little while. And it's like, I don't know. I need to be in shape for it, if you will. I need to rep it a couple times before we get to it. And sometimes we just don't have time to get the rehearsal in, or maybe we get one rehearsal in before the day of the show. So I feel like that's a good way to kind of stay fresh. And fortunately, I guess I write poppier songs. So like
Mhm.
when we're out here playing a cover gig or I'm doing the solo thing, it blends right in, and people don't even think twice. Sometimes people will notice and be like, "Is that an original? That's awesome," or "Who sings that?" And so it's a good way to flesh out, like, it seems like if it's a good song and it has legs, then it's good in almost every form, acoustic, produced, live, like if the song has legs, then it shows, and it's a good way to test that out. There's songs I love and I play them out time and it's crickets every time. And you're like, "Man, I really feel good about this one, but no one cares." So, yeah.
Some of those are just for Fred.
Yeah,
I guess
dude,
that's the
totally.
case.
I think riding in that flow state is one of those things where that's my own therapy. It's like pushing my feelings out into these songs, if you will.
Love it. Well, I want to know the kind of what's on the horizon here. Before we dive in, Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. I want to get into for you guys, like you mentioned you guys are going Poconos, and so you'll wrap up. Will you wrap up the rest of the Lantern shows kind of by that September date or November date, and then it's into kind of the chill season for you guys for a little bit, or like what's kind of the horizon here? Give us the full.
So yeah, we'll basically run September to November with this Lantern Fest thing, and a couple other cool festivals and pretty bigger township shows like along the way, doing that through November. We're releasing this song, like a pretty big song, about 5 years ago, six, maybe even 7 years ago. I wrote this song called "It's My City." We might have played it
I think
when
you
you
guys
saw
did
us.
play it. You guys did play it. I remember that one as well.
I always had this like high hopes for this song to be like, I just heard it as like an NFL broadcast
I
song.
remember, yes, that's yeah. We remember. I
Yeah.
remember we talking about this. You're like, dude, that. What do you think? What did you think about that song? It's my city. I'm like, I mean, it
Yeah.
was awesome. He's like, dude, that's the freaking NFL song. I want it to be for the Panthers,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
theme song.
Yeah, so I'm dropping that. We're dropping that song here in the next like 8 weeks, and we've partnered with this really cool show that's airing on CBS. They're going to be playing the song. The show got connected with the Panthers and the Hornets, and they showed them the song, and so they were like, "We love this." They verbally committed to playing it in the stadium, all year long and both seasons. But as it gets closer to the show release date, yeah, the I think it's gonna. I really have this crazy feeling that things are gonna just go exactly the way I want them to. So there's this big release coming up along with like 6 other songs that follow that are a part of like a self-produced album that we did with Tim Gowert. He's been drumming with us on and off for the last 3 years, but he's like kind of didn't really want to be the full-time drummer because he's an incredible producer and
Yeah.
engineer. So he's pursuing that. And through that, we did an album together last year in Poconos, which is our first tour show coming up here in a couple weeks. And so that's like what's coming up. We're about to bang out these singles and try to keep them, close. At the top of the list is this It's My City song. And like, it's just a banger. And everybody who's getting their ears on it early are like, that don't know us because we have people showcasing it to people. They're like, "Who is this?" In the first 15 seconds, they love it and they want to know who it is. And I was like I felt it was infectious the moment I sang the lyric because this is one of those songs I made up live staring at the Charlotte skyline. And I was just like, dude, that's a hook.
I can't wait. All right, 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Everybody, mark your calendar, put it down. This may it'll be closer whenever this comes out. So everyone, be ready for it. Look following them on Spotify. So whenever your release radar comes out, you got to be right there. Well, I'm excited for it. Obviously, we're going to definitely, whenever it comes through, let us know. We'll promote it out and hopefully get it to some new ears. If we can get you
Sure.
one more listen, that's what we're here for. So
That's right.
quick comment. I mean, obviously, your drummer you mentioned earlier, you had Tim doing that. That's not the giant guy who was drumming the night I met you, right? I mean,
Nah, yeah, Ethan Russell is the guy that was drumming with us at the time. Yeah.
Ethan's a 6'6" basketball player. If
Dude,
anybody's ready, he will put a post move on you if you're out there.
he will post you up. He will post you up. He's a killer dude, man. Ethan can't say enough about him, man. He's a great guy. He's a fun time to be around, and yeah, man, he's been crushing it in the saddle back there. So
I love it. I love it. Any, obviously a lot of touring, a lot of different things going on. I mean, you guys are in the van for 6 months. Like, anything for the dynamic of the band? Like, do people have like kind of a arrangement, or like you guys have like arrangements of like, hey, like your snack guy, the driver, the pack rat. Like, I ask a lot of folks this just because I know that there's a lot of everyone's got to have a role. So like, what would you
yeah,
say the roles are for y'all's band?
man. Ooh, that's tough. So like the band in itself, Late Night Special, has been such a rotating cast for like it's more of a collective of a lot of really incredible players. So like it's kind of funny. It's like a video game character list, you know. Everybody has their like pros and cons and nobody's a drag or nothing, but everybody has their like highlights and lowlights. We always we've developed a point system. Like if you like, because I do all the driving. I am the driver, and I don't know why. I think I'm just a control freak when it comes to my life in a vehicle. But anyways, I do most of the driving. We usually pull a trailer. We're in the van, so I'm always like, hey, y'all are hungry. Find us somewhere good to eat. It's got to be good though. You're getting rated, and so we all take turns like picking a spot. And like if you pick a bummer, man, your rating goes down. And like eventually you may lose your picks. But we've also hit some hidden gems doing it that way. Like everybody gets to do some research, find some like little hidden gem on the road. But for the most part, man, like everybody has their own little like kind of quirky and gigantic thing about them that is so cool to be around. And it's kind of cool doing it that way because something I always crave to have the same five people because you can't replace that chemistry that builds over years. But in playing with a bunch of different people, you get a new flavor on the music so often that it's taken the music in different directions. And like being able to produce and work in a studio creatively with some of these people has been incredible because it takes, like I said, it's going to take the music in a direction maybe I just couldn't have taken it myself.
Yeah. I mean, I love the you guys all have kind of a collective. It's like you think of it as a collective, not necessarily as like, hey, like we got the same, unit. Like I think somebody who's also like a Charleston guy, Susto, he has a similar, it seems like he's got, everybody I talked to down in Charleston, they've all been a member of Susto at some point or something like that. So it's like a kind of a an arch, overarching folks. There's a few stalwarts in there, but like mainly like
Yeah.
you got the same, you got a rotating cast, which always, I love the flavor. It brings more flavor to you. I love that.
Yeah, it really does. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a great example because his like the Susto string band thing right now, like they've went out and just probably sold an equal amount of tickets, with the string band. It's just some of the same songs, some new songs, but it's like it just breathes a new, not just a different flavor onto the music, which is like I said, when the song has legs, it's like perform it in any genre and watch how it walks, dude. That's good songs. And Justin's a, he's a savant at songwriting.
Yeah,
One of my
we had him
favorites.
on, and he was like going. I think they had just gone through, but he was right before they did the first string band like stuff. They released the album obviously, and like I haven't gotten to see him yet here in Atlanta when they've come through. He's come through a couple times with different arrangements, but I have not seen the string band arrangement yet. But like, I mean, I love the album. His writing blends well to that, so
Yeah, yeah.
interesting kind of feel. But well, moving off, some of our former guests, I want to put you through something they've been through. The Pete Peterson party pack of questions. It's 20 rapid fire questions, this or that, right in a row, and we'll rip it on here. Pete Peterson's party pack.
Let's go, dude.
Cake or pie, Fred?
I'm
Starting
a
there.
I'm a pie guy.
All pie. Let's go. Salad or soup?
Salad.
Salading it up. All right. Sunrise or sunset?
I think I'm a sunset guy. I miss the sunrise all the time.
All right. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Touchdown for sure. Never was
Cheater.
into baseball.
All right. Are you having more nights in or nights out these days?
Nights in. I don't know. Do you count nights out as work? I mean, it could be equal.
I would say I think I count a night out. If you go out after the show, that counts as a night out. But if you
Okay,
go work and then come home, I think
that's
that's a
fair.
night. That's a night
Probably more nights in, man. It's a busy world these days. So
out. When you do go out though, and your jam comes on, you're more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor.
the worm, I don't know. It was a move I developed at a young age, but the worm.
All right, still got it. Let's go. All right, guac or queso at your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
Okay, so can't go
Queso.
wrong.
All right, waffles or pancakes?
Waffle,
All right, coffee or tea with your waffle?
coffee,
Coffee it up. All right, dogs or cats?
dog for sure.
All right, are you more identified like with a ninja or a pirate?
Probably a pirate. I wish I was swift like a ninja, but I'm not. So I'm probably more of a pirate.
I love it. All right, Gatorade or Powerade?
Ooh, Gatorade, man. I'm a huge Florida Gator fan, and there's some
Yeah.
origin down there, right?
Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade, of course. All right, toast or bagels?
Bagels. I eat a bagel all the time. That's the only thing I think I'll eat from a hotel breakfast is a bagel with some that cream cheese. I'm like, I can trust you. I'll take it.
I know exactly what I'm getting. Chips or pretzels?
Chips.
Chips and all right, fries or tots?
Tots.
Tots. All right. TV show or a movie after a long night?
I'm a sucker to get into a movie. I avoid TV shows because I don't want, like, especially series. I hate the commitment to so many shows, but I will
Yeah.
commit to 1 2 hour movie instantly.
Okay. All right. All right. Are aliens real?
I would say, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
All right. Is Bigfoot real?
I don't want to be caught saying no. I have a crazy story. Next time, remind me to tell you about the Bigfoot story. It's always wild.
All right. Is Love at First Sight real?
Yeah, I would say so.
And give me two bands that we ought to check out that we might not know.
There's a band out of Salt Lake City I've been kind of vibing called Cardinal Bloom.
Bloom.
They're pretty incredible. Man, that you wouldn't know. I believe there's this band called the Jet Black Roses. Yeah, I recently listened to and I was like, wow, these cats are killer.
All right. Cardinal Bloom, Jet Black Roses. We'll have to give them a listen.
Yeah, man.
Final question here. I like to, you're gonna have to pop your camera off, but what's the last thing you looked up on Spotify or wherever you stream music? What was the last thing you were looking up? What was your last search?
This is so funny. So today, we're here in the freaking race capital of the world, and we got invited. We're playing this like one of these private events this weekend for some people from Hendrick Motorsports. And so today we got invited down to the Hendrick Motorsports Bible study and the lunch, and then we got to go take a tour of the whole Hendrick Motorsports campus where they're building all these cars that are racing this weekend, and in Iowa. And while we're eating lunch, after the pastor had spoke a little bit, this guy, Mac Brock, played, and he's a Christian artist, like pretty big, semi-big touring Christian artist. And so I looked him up on Spotify. I didn't listen to him yet, but I looked him up and I was like, because I wanted to know more about him, and yeah, that's the last thing I
All
searched.
right,
I
there we go.
remember it so vaguely because I was out there today. But yeah, then we took a tour of the NASCAR place, man, and got to see how the big boys do it in NASCAR.
My last one, just so you're not alone. Of course, a band called Bishop. One of my employees was telling me that she toured with Bishop for a few weeks, and she said that she went to and stayed at Vinnie Paul's house and went to the drummer of, or she went to Vinnie Paul's strip club, and they stayed with the drummer of Queensryche through this band. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so I was
What's
looking
the
some Bishop
genre?
up.
What's the genre?
I think they're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
They're from Florida, like kind of the punk, like heavy metalish kind of deal. I need to dive a little deeper, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
interesting thing to learn about. The more you know,
But
you
yes,
don't know if you don't ask.
exactly.
So, well, Fred, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm looking forward to obviously it's my city coming out. For every NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, every stadium to start playing your song.
Dude, that would
And
be
like
great.
honestly, let's hope it's the next Seven Nation Army. I think like that's the bar right there. I think
Yeah, right. It'd be great, man. I
yeah,
appreciate it, Grant. And
yeah,
always a pleasure, man. Love watching the podcast and listening, dude. You do a great job, and always a pleasure to be on here, man. Hope to see you at another show soon.
yeah, man. Look forward to it. Look forward to having you guys back up here in Atlanta. Maybe we'll do it live next time. We'll get
Let's
there. We'll
go.
get
You let me
get in the
know.
studio.
You let me know.
I love it, man. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take it easy.